Yeah. Hey. All right. Hey. Yeah, I mean.
So we about to take off.
Hey. Please do remain calm. About to run against spitting with a little bit of soul, no times.
Oh, right into it. And we're back. I forgot we're not doing the music anymore.
PRC pod, yeah.
Yeah.
Very professionally done. Ben Gonzalez over there.
And I'm Danny Gonzalez.
And we are here with a special guest. Back to having a guest on the show that had some shit happen to him.
Don't you love it when that happens?
Yep.
When the whole point of your podcast just comes and flowers right in front of you.
Exactly. Yeah. And somebody that we've known for a very long time. We can give a long intro. Good backstory with this dude. If you remember when we had the P.D. Montero from the LA Dodgers on the show, we kind of explained the thing that we grew up in like a baseball family. Basically, our dad was a coach. Now he's an umpire. Can't get away from it. So we wound up as such with a lot of extended family through baseball. Yeah, and just basically extra brothers. I think we have those brothers now.
Yeah, I think anybody that grew up in that world, travel baseball, little league baseball, and stuff like that, knows exactly what we're talking about. You know, you get other kids on your team, you get to know other families. Travel ball, you wind up traveling to Vegas or Arizona to go to a tournament.
It started in a Vegas tournament.
And hang out and stuff like that. So that's what Adrian is to us and our family. So our guest today is Adrian Nevarez. Adrian, welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for coming, man. So you met my folks or my little brother when you were like, what? Like you were like 10 or something?
I was
a kid,
so
right?
Los and I, because Los and I are the same age. So Los and I were 10. I had played on this travel team the year before. Your dad takes over the following year. They hit me up on a Wednesday because we were going for the tournament on the weekend.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, you got practice on a Wednesday? They tell me the coach's name is Danny Gonzalez.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I get to practice. It's like, no, Danny's the son. Ben's the coach. So we do one quick practice. We all give the whole hotel arrangements. Hey, this is a hotel. This is a schedule. And we're out there on the weekend. And I think we came like in second place that weekend.
Was that Vegas?
Yeah,
Vegas. Yeah.
And you played in that tournament. You played on that older.
Played in the older tournament.
Team,
we won that tournament too. Pitched at UNLV during that tournament too.
That's
that was
cool, man.
So
it was kind of the same deal on my team too.
Everyone got put together in the last minute.
Like Thursday, I got a call. Hey, I heard you pitch. You can come play on this team. And then my dad had taken over that team. Yeah. And then we went and won this tournament. But
we freaking dominated out there.
Yeah, man. But I think I played with your cousin.
My cousin George.
Yeah, your cousin George on that team.
My cousin George was on that team.
So that's just how it happens. I mean, that's exactly what we're talking about. Me and George and my buddy Rudy that lived with us at the time.
That's right, Rudy.
And that's how it happens, man. You make connections, and some of those connections stick, and you become lifelong friends like we have with Adrian here.
26 years later, man.
Yeah,
pretty much. And that's the life like our little brother grew up with is traveling, playing baseball from when he was like 8 or 9 or whatever it was.
What else is cool about that? Just kind of a little tangent here, but like being in that kind of world and meeting so many other kids and so many and spending so much time with other families and people with other cultures and stuff like that is just that getting exposed. I feel like that's a large part of why we're so comfortable talking to people and in social situations and meeting new people, because as kids we were exposed to so many other kids, and just another benefit of Little League and sports in general as a kid, getting out there and meeting other kids and interacting. But
absolutely, because they became lifelong friends. You're godfather to my nephew,
to Tiago,
right?
So, yeah, Los' youngest.
Yeah, and there's other similarities too with the kind of the PD story too, because. You never lived with us though, right?
Nah, I never lived. I lived with Danny.
Yeah.
That's right.
We lived together.
Yeah.
So
we were there for a while.
Yeah, that's right. But then
I
also
spent the night every other weekend though.
Yeah,
pretty much. It's family, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it really
exactly.
is. I mean, it really is. You say extended family, but it really truly is. I mean, our parents, your parents.
Our parents still talk.
Yeah.
Because our grandparents, now they're all with our parents, they all talk and communicate
and it's great when that happens too, man. And you stick with good people like that too, because Adrian is an LA County sheriff. Ben's a paramedic, works for LA County DHS. I work for LAFD. We've created a new community of responsible people that contribute to society for our kids to grow up and see. You know what I mean? And sticking together with friends from that long ago, it's inspiring for kids. I mean, I saw my dad and mine, you know what I mean? Like still hanging out till this day, friends from high school and Manuel and all those other guys. It's inspiring to see that and know that you can have lifelong friendships like that. So it's cool, man. I really appreciate you coming in. We've been trying to set up having Adrian come in Fuck, man, for months now.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah, it's tough with all our schedules trying to schedule to come in. So I'm glad you're here, man.
Yeah.
And we're gonna talk about something pretty specific incident today.
Yeah.
That's where I was going with it
Yeah.
because the tie-ins with the other story too is like Adrian was also inspired to get into he was a paramedic also, pursued the fire service as well, and then also lifelong baseball thing. So not only was he also a paramedic, but this incident involves baseball.
Right.
Yeah.
So Adrian, we all played baseball, like we said. We all played in high school. My brother played with Adrian in high school at St. Monica's, and they both went on to play college. And Adrian actually played. You walked on at LMU, or
At LMU, yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about that, man. How'd you wind up at LMU? How'd you wind up on the baseball team there?
So at the time, the coach was Frank Cruz, which the high school Carlos and I went to was St. Monica. The head coach at LMU was St. Monica alumni.
Ah.
So he kind of reached out. Turned out that they had a spot for a catcher. At the time, I had the grades to get into LMU. So it all worked out. I got onto the team, and I was there for the 4 years.
Sweet, man.
Cruise connection.
So you went there, like, did the coach recruit you to come over to
Correct.
walk on specifically?
Yeah, so like I said, I did talk to Frank Cruz beforehand. So I went on with the intention of playing on the team.
Yeah, walk on roster
Correct.
spot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's
When
cool, man.
when you get there as a walk on, they already had a catcher there or two catchers.
So when I got there was 3 catchers.
Oh wow!
2 of them were upperclassmen. 1 was a year ahead of me.
So they try to hold 4 catchers at a time just to be safe, or do you start
Yeah,
the season with
you
that?
always start with at least 3.
Yeah.
You have your 2 main starters pretty much. You have a guy that kind of helps out in the bullpen. At the time, they just had a roster spot for a 4th guy.
Yeah.
The guy ahead of me ended up leaving the school. So it turned out to be just 3 of us.
Yeah, because you never know how that's going to go too.
True,
with
yeah.
college, when people look for other opportunities, and LMU is also a good program.
It's a good program.
Yeah, you're playing some real baseball.
But you're essentially low man on the totem pole, and
Low
you're
man on
going
the
out
totem
there
pole.
and you got to hustle
Correct.
and prove yourself out
Absolutely.
there on this team of guys that have pretty much been working out together and stuff like that,
Playing
know each other.
Classmen, I mean, and you show up as an 18-year-old, you're still developing into your body. Now you're starting to play with men because guys are in their 20s.
There's like 22,
Yeah,
23.
you're playing with guys,
Yeah.
and they're from all over the country. You guys a guy from the Midwest, you guys a guy from the East Coast, and these guys can play some ball. You know?
Throwing a little harder,
playing
hitting a little harder. Yeah.
So I remember my first bullpen. I mean, they kind of gave me the heads up, but they're like, "Hey, by the way, this guy throws 97 miles an hour." At that point, I'd never caught anyone that threw 95 and above.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a shock, and then you realize, and I think on that year we had 9 guys that were all like in the mid 90s.
Man.
Damn.
We had a-
Stings you?
We had a freshman that came in throwing 100, and he was
Damn.
a freshman.
Yeah.
How do you catch that, dude? Like, what's that like catching that?
The first couple times, like I said, it's an adjustment, but you do get used to it. Plus, these guys have control. So wherever the glove kind of goes, kind of
It's just going to be there.
It's like when you watch Kershaw pitch, wherever the glove goes up, the ball hits there.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
You know?
right.
So they kind of do a lot of the work for you. You just have to make the adjustment.
Not only that, but you're talking about, I mean, you're 18. You're talking about, I don't know what, 12 years straight of getting your hand-eye coordination down.
Yeah.
You know what I
Getting
mean?
used to, yeah.
Like that always cracks me up when I'm talking baseball with people and stuff, and I'm like, bro, like what you don't realize is these fools have been doing this shit. So, someone was talking shit about somebody like flicking something sidearm or something like that. Like, oh, get your arm. I was like, this dude's been doing this since he was 6. You know what I mean? Like literally, he's literally been living this every day of his life since he was 6 years old. Like I'm pretty sure he knows how to flick a ball. That you know. But yeah, that like, catching a 100. I never caught. I did it once in a. It's like catcher is the one position I never played in baseball. Right? I just fucking hate.
And most people stay away from it.
Everything, dude.
Yeah.
My legs hurt when I did it. I just hated every second of it. And then I was at a baseball like camp or something like that at LMU, and they needed a catcher. Nobody was volunteering. I was like, screw it, man, I'll catch. And it was a guy throwing like in the 90s, man. And I'm in high school at this time, right? So I'm like, what? There's nothing to it. Just catch the stupid ball, dude. Oh my god, dude, it was nerve wracking. So, so you come on as a catcher, low man catcher, but essentially every time you go out there on the field, your thought process is hustle, right?
Hustle, improve, learn from the older guys.
Improve yourself.
I got lucky. The 2 older guys were pretty much mentors to me at the time.
Oh, really?
And I just sat behind them until I became a junior when I became an upperclassman.
Did you play with any pros?
Yeah, a handful of guys. I mean, on my roster.
Like who was like the big studs from your team?
Guy named Chris Pettit went to the Angels.
All right.
And he played on their team for a couple of years. Brad Myers got called up. Jeff Stevens was with the Cubs for a couple of years. I mean, like these are guys that played major league
majors.
ball.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Eric
Man.
Ferris, like I said, there's a handful of guys.
Yeah, man.
And every year you have a couple guys. Right now, the Angels have a guy named Fletcher. He's an infielder for them.
That guy's great.
He's at LMU.
Yeah, he's LMU
so like
guy,
I said,
right?
you always have a couple alum.
Yeah.
It's not one of the bigger programs that has multiple guys, but like I said,
they get up there.
We always have a couple guys that are playing major league ball.
Yeah.
So just to be in that mindset, your whole life you're playing baseball, you know what I mean? You're pumped. You get recruited to come to this school. That's a well-known school right here where we grew up. I mean, you got those LMU
local school, yeah.
LMU letters on that hillside there. You see them.
Absolutely.
You see them every single day, right? It's a great school academically, all this stuff, right? So I'm just trying to put us there in that mindset. This is like kind of like the pinnacle of life for you right now, right? Like baseball, yes. LMU,
Everything's
yes.
working out. I was a senior at that point. I'm actually playing. This is the most consistent I've actually been playing on a starting spot.
Man, what point of the season is this?
We weren't even midway through the season because this is still early March when this happened.
Man.
And this is your junior year.
This is my senior year.
Senior year. So
Correct.
you've gone through. Not only did you arrive with this push behind you, but you've got 3 years of seeing guys get drafted, guys above you going into the pros.
Guys are going.
Yeah. He's grinding, keeping his
grinding.
nose down.
Now I'm a senior. I was more of like a team captain type of guy,
You're improving.
man.
Your skills have improved. You're getting better and better. You can see yourself, and correct me if I'm wrong, at this point, possibly getting drafted, possibly on the verge of something like that in your
just
life.
continuing a career
You're
in
just
baseball.
continuing on. You're moving on
Right.
and you're moving on. Mm-hmm.
Take us to the day of the incident.
So I'll actually build it up to the week before. So the week beforehand, and this all happens early March. Like I said, the actual date of the incident was March 9th. And I still remember it on a Thursday.
What year? Do you remember the year?
2006. 2006.
2006.
Man.
So the week prior, we hosted Santa Barbara. So UCSB came into town. Since it's March in California.
So they were all hungover the whole game? Or?
Yeah. Since it's March, this is the rainy part of the season.
Right.
So the weekend prior, it rained all weekend long, on and off, but we got the games in. So Monday through Thursday, when we're practicing, we're having practice, but they're doing maintenance on the field. One of the things that they're doing is they have a sod machine, which is a machine that turns the grass over because there's a lot of moisture on it. So that Thursday, we're having our final practice. It's like a walkthrough practice because we're flying out that morning. That afternoon, we're flying out to New Mexico to go play New Mexico State. And normally your walkthrough practice is just, you're there for like an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours. A normal practice lasts 4 hours.
Coasting,
you're just going through a couple of movements, playing catch, and it's just a quick batting practice. It's not a full batting, it's a quick batting practice just to kind of...
Right.
timing, just get the swings in.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
So we all go through our groups. We're in our final group. And I still remember the guy that's hitting, a guy named Casey Gordon. He's a lefty. He's going through his rounds. I'm shagging out in right field. And Casey pulls the ball down the line, so I take off after it.
Shagging.
Shag.
For those that don't know.
I'm shagging, so it's guys are hitting the ball. We're just picking up what they're hitting.
You're just wandering around, meandering around the outfield.
Yeah.
Occasionally they'll hit a ball. The grass is wet. I'm gonna show you some Ken Griffey Jr. shit here, right? Dive or whatever.
Scoop
You're
it
just
up.
screwing around with your buddies in the outfield,
Pretty much.
shagging
So I'm
balls.
out there. Like I said, my thing was I always ran hard after everything. So the dude hits it down the line. I put my head down and I run after the ball. Like I said earlier, they still had some of the equipment on the field from what they were doing from the week prior.
Off on the foul side.
On the fair side.
Oh, really?
So they're doing maintenance on the fair
Gotcha.
side of the field.
Because you guys don't have a game there. You have an away game.
Like I
So
said,
they're working on the field.
They're prepping the field because
Gotcha.
the following weekend we're back in town.
Gotcha.
The following Tuesday we're back in town.
Gotcha.
I think we were going to play Fullerton. So as I'm running after this ball, I put my head down, running, take a couple steps. When I kind of think the ball's going to be near me, I look up. A normal thing that an outfielder does.
Sure.
As I look up, the ball hits the glove, and as the ball hits the glove, I just feel something cut me from underneath, and I go down. Boom, 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 boom. Right?
And we were saying cut you. You
Where
mean
did you
like
feel
a
it?
tackle? You mean
It
like
felt like a tackle. It felt like literally
okay.
someone tackled me from right by my knees. It hit me right above my knee on my right leg. So I feel the impact, but you don't feel pain. You just felt the impact.
Sure.
And I'm down. Boom. Right? And as I get hit, you hear the, oh, but no one's thinking anything serious yet. I get hit, I look down, and right as I look down on my leg, because we're wearing shorts, since it's a walkthrough practice.
Right.
I see this massive hole in my right quad. And when I say
In
I
the
see
quad.
a hole in my quad, and I'm saying, you see a hole, you see the fatty yellow tissue, now you see the pink muscle, a little bit of blood, and I see my femur.
Whoa.
So it went down to the femur.
Dude.
Right? So now I get hit, and the first thing, I mean, like I said, I grab my leg, and I just sit there still. I'm in shock.
Nobody immediately around you at the
immediately
time?
around me. The closest guys are maybe 20 feet away from me because we're all spread out shagging.
You faint?
No.
Oh.
But I sit there, I grab my leg. I guess guys must have seen the impact. They're starting to run over.
Yeah.
The first dude that shows up, a kid named Brian Lefkowitz.
Pull this mic kind of right in front of you. Just pull it toward you.
Yeah. Is, I guess he was an EMT beforehand in high school where he did something like that.
Yeah.
So for some reason, this kid shows up and puts his hand over my face, like over my eyes, right? Like trying to prevent the shock.
Get this guy a bag.
Yeah, right? And I'm like, bro, what are you doing? He's like, I don't want you to see it, dude.
He's
I'm
like,
like,
shh.
Try to not say a word.
Yeah.
This is where you're home good, Adrian. Shut up.
I don't want you to see it. I don't want you to see it. And I'm like, bro, I already saw it.
Man.
So right away they're, hey, get the trainer. One of the coaches runs over, looks at me, and he's like, oh shit. Right? So when he says, oh shit, I'm kind of looking like, dude, this is kind of serious. Because at the time I get hit, I'm thinking I'm out for the weekend.
Yeah.
You know? I'm thinking I'm out for the weekend.
Yeah.
I'll be back the following weekend for, you know?
That'll heal right
Yeah,
up.
it'll heal right on up, right? But you just don't know
stinger.
the severity of it.
Yeah.
Because the pain hadn't kicked in yet.
Sure, yeah. And there's not, it's something like that, there's no blood right away, right?
There was no blood.
Yeah.
And luckily, I was a few inches from missing the artery.
Yeah, right.
Ooh, bro.
Which is a whole nother thing. And at the time, I didn't know anything about arteries and veins and all
You
that.
had a few minutes.
That's it.
Yeah.
So trainer shows up. Oh shit, dude, you all right, man? Let's get him on the cart. They get me on the cart. And when they get me on the cart, usually you go to the training room. They evaluate you.
Yeah.
They do their thing.
They just drove straight to Marina
This
del
dude
Rey.
right away, the trainer right away gets on and goes, 911. So now I'm like,
Oh, that's it.
Bro.
Yeah.
why are we calling 911? Like, you're medical.
Trainer's got
Take care of me,
ace
man.
wraps
You're
and shit,
not-
bro.
why
Is
Why
it
are we
ace
calling
wrapping?
why are we calling paramedics?
Yeah. We call them big boys?
Yeah,
Big
like,
boys?
what's going on, you know?
Yeah.
So, paramedics are en route. So now they start wheeling me towards the trainer's room. The trainer's room is located right outside the softball field, which is behind the baseball field.
Mhm.
And like I said, this is as things are progressing, I'm realizing like, hey, this is a little more serious than I'm thinking.
But still, pain's not really kicking in.
Pain hasn't really kicked in, but I'm not moving my leg.
We're talking about 5 minutes now, maybe from it.
We're 5 to 10 minutes now.
10 minutes.
Yeah,
Okay.
because by the time they loaded me up, wheeled me over,
Yeah.
And they dressed you up?
He wrapped you.
no, they didn't touch anything.
Nothing.
No. All they did was, as we're approaching the softball field, the trainer says, because the head trainer comes out now, put a towel over his leg. I don't want anyone else to see it. Yeah. So it's one of those injuries where it's like dude,
Can I get some treatment?
am I a corpse now?
Can we put a little pressure on that towel? You
Yeah.
know, maybe stop some bleeding.
Yeah,
I don't
right.
know.
Like now we're just covering up the. So he's
WC
like, I don't want
conference
any
baseball
'cause there's-
blog.
Now there's parents and there's a softball game going on.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't want anyone else to see it.
Oh, there was a game?
There was a softball game
game.
going on behind us. So I'm sitting there like, shit, dude, like this is something serious. So I'm sitting there and now they're just, hey, dude, the fire department's going to come. They're going to take you to the hospital. Who do we need to contact? They contact my parents. Luckily, I live in Culver City, which is down
Right.
like 4 miles from LMU.
Yeah.
The head coach is in the shower because we're getting ready for a road trip. So the head coach is still inside. And someone ran in there and said, hey, dude, Adrian's hurt. He comes out thinking it's just, hey, dude, the dude got banged up. He looks at me and just a tear comes out.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
But I was close.
You're
to
looking
my,
like
I
Alex
was,
Smith,
I was
bro.
I was close to my coach though.
Yeah.
And my coach, like, God bless him, big heart, man.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like shit, man. So he's
Well-
looking at me like, hey, dude, are you all right? He's calling my parents. Hey, Mr. Nevarez, just to let you know, Adrian was involved in a bad accident. I need you to come to. We didn't even know what hospital we're going to because the fire department hadn't shown up yet.
Yeah.
So we sit there. Fire department rolls in. It was, I believe, station
Probably fives. Yeah,
'cause
fives.
I think this is before they built the
Yeah,
new station, so
67s.
they were right on Manchester.
Yeah.
So they show up. They were cool as hell. And like I said, to me, like now I'm thinking this is serious, but to the fire department, it's just another injury.
Another day. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just another thing. The dudes are super chill about like, oh, bro, you cool, man? You need anything? Like, hey, we're gonna take you down. And they're like I said, they were casual, no lights and sirens, nothing. They just casually took me down to Marina del Rey.
They took you to Marina?
At the time, I don't think it met trauma criteria, did it? So this is 06 before. This
I
is
guess
when
so.
you guys had that trauma box, remember?
It's not the trunk, I guess.
We'll talk about it later.
Because now it's the knee. Now it's the knee and above, right?
It's the knee and above for gunshots, but
This was a penetrating
injury. Though,
but we'll talk about
I
it.
didn't
later.
tell you. Okay, so
We'll talk about it
and
later.
what caused the injury, and I didn't tell you guys, it wasn't the fact that I hit the machine. So the machine has a screw that sticks out of it. I hit the screw. So the screw is what
Caught
penetrated
you and made a hole.
And when I fell forward, it tore.
Chunked.
So it caused it caused an avulsion.
Yeah,
So
and
no
of course, it's a screw. It's not a nail. It's not something smooth.
No.
So it's
this
tearing and ripping.
It tore. It looked like a shark bite.
What was the machine then? Like, what'd you hit?
So it's a sod machine. So it's the machine that
sod
literally
machine
it
that
flips the grass over.
Got it.
You know, and I say they're doing because of all the moisture on the grass outside. But people always think like, oh, dude, this like the actual machine. Like, no, the machine, the blade, nothing caught me from the blades. It was just a screw that was sticking out the machine that caught me.
So crazy.
And it caught me at a perfect angle.
Man.
The dumb
Baseball
luck.
is a game of inches.
Yeah,
Seriously.
And it really was. So like I said, I get to Marina del Rey. Doctor evaluates me. Hey, dude, what do you need? At the time, I'm an athlete, so I'm like, I don't want any medication. I don't want nothing because I'm all about being clean. Because in my eyes, I'm still thinking a week from now, I'm gonna play.
Yeah, right.
You know, next week I'll be playing.
Right.
So they're like, hey, dude, you know what? We're gonna have to operate on you, but we need the specialist to come in for this. Right. So the specialist we had is a doctor out of Curlin Job, which I don't know if they're still there in the marina.
Yeah,
or up in
Santa Monica.
by Howard Hughes.
They were there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to have him come in and do the operation. It was Dr. Willoughby. Super nice guy. I think he was a former athlete as well. So I sat there for a couple hours. That same night, they put me to sleep, and I woke up with this massive thing on my leg.
And that was it, huh? When you woke up, were you able throughout the entire thing? Were you able to move your?
No, so I didn't move my leg from the day of the injury.
But your toes and everything were still moving.
Toes
and everything?
were fine.
Okay.
So like I said, circulation, everything was fine. I still had feeling there. I just wasn't moving it because of the injury and because of where the injury occurred.
Yeah.
Because like I said, ended up being that I ended up tearing 50% of my quad out, and I bruised my femur, which I think it's more severe than the actual tearing of the muscle.
Yeah.
And like I said, you learn later on that the femur is such a strong bone and all that, right?
Now, all that being said, you didn't slice through any tendons.
No tendons,
any vessels, major
no vessels, no
vessels?
arteries, because I barely bled.
It's all meat, huh?
Just all the muscle tissue?
The biggest concern for them was one, the femur, two was the femur. Number one was infection.
Oh yeah.
Because when I hit a dirty screw, it was full of dirt, and it's a wide open thing that was exposed for so long.
All the way in. Yeah.
And that's their thing is, hey, dude, honestly, you're a young dude. You will recover over time, but it's the infection.
Yeah.
You know?
Did you get sick?
I didn't get sick, nothing. No, because they gave me antibiotics.
Yeah.
I mean, luckily, like I said, Marina del Rey is 5 minutes away?
Yeah.
So I was in the hospital within minutes. They gave me my tetanus shot. They ran a course of antibiotics, instantly.
And so there was no fractures, just a bruise on your femur?
It was just a bruise on the femur.
Were you still thinking that you were going to recover from this and play baseball again afterwards?
Until the doctor talked to me, I was 100% sure that, like I said, to me, I was a week or two from now. You know what?
Sure.
They'll stitch me up and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
You know, because the pain wasn't that severe. I was in shock, but it wasn't that severe. So in my eyes, I was like, dude, I'll be back. I thought it was just hey, let's stitch it up and It wasn't till after the surgery when the doctor came back in that he told me because I asked him, hey, dude, how long am I out for?
Yeah.
And he was like, dude, it's gonna take you 6 months to even start walking again.
Oh no shit.
So it was that's when I realized wait, time out. We're in March. Season ends by May, June. Season's done.
Yeah.
But you're telling me
you're a senior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're not just telling me I won't be back for the season. You're telling me I will be 6 months before I start walking.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is my right leg, my driving leg, my power leg, my everything leg.
Yeah.
I'm a righty.
My ass kicking leg. Yeah. This is how I kick my horse with.
That's the first time when I realized hey, dude, this is it. I'm done.
End of this long road, man.
This is it. I'm done right here. Everyone else, I think, already understood that because I remember my coach came to the hospital with me, sat there, and we had to literally force him out of the hospital. Be like, hey, go jump on the plane because the team was flying out to New Mexico.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, I'm gonna stay the night here with you. I was like, sir, I appreciate it, but
what good is that gonna
exactly?
do? Yeah.
We still have games.
Yeah, you got other kids to think about, guys to think about.
But it's when he told me that I was like, dude, this is gonna be a long run. And it took almost a full year to fully recover from this whole thing.
And
so
what,
it was 6 months of your leg was useless?
And I was useless. So it started off where they put me in a brace that completely kept my leg straight.
Mm-hmm.
And then with time, they adjusted my brace that would give me a percentage of mobility. And every few weeks, I would go to the doctor and he would change that percentage. So it would go from 10%, 20%. So I would have a slight bend over time.
easing into it.
Slowly easing into it. But then what happens is as you're getting into it, then swelling comes back. You know?
Because you're working it now.
Because you're working it, you're moving, and you're not ready yet.
And they've sewed these fibers back
Correct.
together, so they're trying to figure out how to work together again, and that's where you get that inflammation, everything trying to work and heal back together.
They just basically took the ends from the open hole and just
holes,
pushed together the muscle
together,
back.
grabbed a little extra skin, stitched it up, or sewed it up, and then just kind of brought it together.
Yeah.
All right. So the lack of mobility was to allow the fibers to heal. And not so much the bone bruise.
For that, and then for the muscle to rebuild.
Right.
Because, I mean, I still have the indent on my leg. So the muscle isn't fully grown back. It never will be.
Right.
It's been, what's 06? So we're looking at 15 years.
15 years.
You know?
Already passed.
And I still have that little indent on my leg. The strength is there, but the indent still. So the muscle never fully grew back.
And I'm pretty sure when you have a tear of a muscle like that too, they stitch deep in the muscle too. I'm not sure if it's dissolvable stitches or if it's stitches that they wind up removing later.
Dissolvable because they never reopened it.
But sometimes I know when they did my knee, man, they had some internal stitching in, and there was one little tiny one popping up right above my kneecap, and they snipped something on the bottom and they grabbed this sucker and pulled it out, man, and I could feel it inside my knee. And she just pulled that whole thing out. She goes, "All right, you're good."
How long was your rehab on
that? Like fully recovered. 6 months on this one, I'd say. 3 months on this one. Yeah. This one was my patella tendon, and this one was a cadaver tendon. But I was functioning again at 6 months and 3 months. But man, that's crazy. So on top of being injured, going through surgery and all that stuff, the stress and everything that brings along with it. Now, after the fact, you're dealing with, holy shit, this thing I've been doing my entire life that I loved, that I saw a future in, however, whatever that future might have been, it's fucking done.
Done. I remember, so it happened during spring break, so we go back to school a week later on a Monday. So the school made arrangements for me because I got hurt. They would pick me up because I was living right off campus in an apartment. They made an arrangement where a bus would come pick me up, a van would pick me up at the apartment, drive me to school, drop me off at public safety, and public safety would cart me around to classes.
Yeah.
So one of the first classes I had was a finance class, and the teacher was a baseball. He was a sports fan, but he was a baseball fan. So I come in crutches, and the dude's like, "Bro, what happened? Like, you're one of our guys.
Yeah.
What happened to you? You know?"
Yeah.
So I give him the whole thing, and he's saying, "Are you going to come back?" And I'm like, "Oh, like I'm done for the season." And you start saying it out loud, you're like, that's when you realize, like, dude, this whole thing is done.
Yeah, man.
Because I'm graduating now in a few months. I'm not going to play again.
Yeah, no more eligibility.
What am I going to do next?
Not only that, but at that time you were thinking of going into finance, right?
I was studying finance, and that's what I wanted to go into. But like I said, you study finance. When you're an athlete in college, you do pick your major and you study it.
Yeah.
But you're so consumed by your sport.
Sure.
Right.
You know, and like you said, you talk to
You're
Los
not
about
really
this.
tripping on it. Yeah.
We're there. Like I said, you take your studies serious, but you're so consumed because for the big chunk of the day, you're practicing.
Sure. Yeah.
I went to practice and lifted weights and did that more than I studied.
Sure.
Right.
So
that's college sports.
That's
right?
what you do. This whole student, like, no, bro, you're an athlete. You
Yeah,
are
your
100%
job
an
is to
athlete.
be good.
And you just happen to study.
Yeah.
You know, you happen to go to school part time.
Yeah. Did you get any sense of like, damn, this is the last organized, really physical thing that I'm gonna fucking do? You know what I mean? Because I'm going into finance.
As the season goes,
you weren't
on,
thinking of being a cop or a firefighter because
time,
you did wind up.
I didn't even contemplate. No, because I didn't contemplate the fire department until after I got out. Because I did finance for a little bit.
That's right.
And I didn't like it.
Didn't like it.
And I credit this to your dad because your dad, like I said, your dad's a retired firefighter, right? At least he's a firefighter. He's the one that kind of sat me down and was like, "Hey, dude, like, what do you want to do the rest of your life?" Because he knew I was unhappy doing finance, you know? And he's the one that kind of opened my eyes to the fire service. Mm-hmm. And then I did a ride along with Danny at Nines. And I was like, dude, this is amazing.
That gets them all.
He knows when to have that. He knows when to have that talk with people.
Yeah.
So it wound up really being a full year before you were back. Like it was 6 months before you walked.
6 months before I walked, before they eventually like took the brace off and all that, but I was still in crutches.
Right.
So even though I had
mobility, like PT walking.
PT did the whole thing. They put me in the pools and the jacuzzis and all that. You know, just to assist with the weight.
Yeah.
But yeah, 6 months for them to actually remove the brace. And then even when they removed it, I mean, I still couldn't do anything.
So you had to have like your parents help you with everything?
So yeah, I mean, for the first few months, if I wasn't at my apartment, I was at my parents'. I literally every day, whether it was groceries or something, the school had to send someone to me to go pick up groceries or go eat because I couldn't drive. I couldn't do anything.
Did that give you like a different perspective on like people with disabilities,
absolutely,
things like that?
Man.
Like,
absolutely.
You never had to consider that
You
before.
never had to consider it, you know?
Yeah. What was like the hardest thing you remember like sticking out to you? Like, oh shit, like how am I going to do this thing now?
It's the basic getting around. Like I said, I couldn't get anywhere.
Yeah. Plus your leg, you'd be surprised because I had a mobilizer too for a little. You'd be surprised the places your leg does not fucking fit when you have to have it straight, man.
And I'm 6'4". I didn't fit anywhere else.
I mean, you can't go to like, you know, I remember I went to a concert. We already had concert tickets before I tore my ACL. And I remember being at a concert with like
the brace.
Yeah, I had to ask the guy in the end, like, "Hey man, would you mind swapping seats with us?" And I had my leg out like this on the end. I was like, you know,
I gotta hear. Who was it?
Gosh, I knew you were gonna ask me that. I can't remember who it was.
Oh my god.
I remember I can picture the band. I can't think of their name. I don't know.
I was waiting to hear like Puddle of Mud.
Whoever, yeah, it was something like that. No, it was damn it! It's gonna pop in my head at some point in the next half hour. I'll scream it out. But okay, all right. So let's take it back. Are we ready to take it back and talk about the fire department side of things?
Yeah.
Okay. If I were working at Fives, okay, we get the call. We probably got the call for an injury at LMU, right? LMU Drive is where they get the address to. So when any call we get at LMU, because you guys got a picture. LMU's it's a college campus. I mean, it's massive. Yeah. There's dormitories, there's classrooms, buildings everywhere. It's a massive campus. So typically, what we'll do is we'll meet security at LMU Drive or Campus Drive. And then they will, campus security or whatever, will take a golf cart and they'll guide us to wherever we're going. They may or may not have gotten a note on there of what is going on with the call, because that'll happen. They'll send out like a general call, an injury for a 18-year-old male on the baseball field at LMU. And then sometimes they'll pop up with a little note that says, severe laceration of the leg or something like that. And you're like, okay, at least I know what it is. Yeah. But until you walk up and actually get a full feel for it, you don't know. Yeah. You don't know what you have. And half the time, you can't trust what that stupid computer says your call is anyways.
Different.
You know, as a cop too, the majority of the time you show up and it's something completely different. So you can't even rely on that information. So we'll get guided up there, and then I'm sure they had a coach or somebody run out and meet the guys outside of the field, and you come up. If I were to walk up and see you sitting there holding a leg injury, a sweetheart of a little guy behind you covering your eyes, and a whole team standing around, looking like they just, saw something crazy, and I saw your leg open like that, the first thing I would consider is covering that thing up, getting it covered and see if there's any bleeding going on, stopping bleeding with direct pressure. And they teach you that in even any EMT class or first aid class. They teach you immediate life threats, right? Mm-hmm. Walk up. I would probably put a trauma dressing completely over that thing. If it's a huge open, filleted open wound like that, I might even push it closed or flush it out with a bottle of saline, right? Just to make sure because I've had that before too, man, where I've had people injured and, someone drags them off the side and they're on grass and you get like grass, dirt and shit inside these huge open wounds. You want to try to get as much of that shit out as you can.
What you can, yeah.
Yeah, when you get to the hospital, they're probably going to,
they'll debride it.
Yeah, they'll debride it. They'll flush it out completely and stuff like that. But
when we're saying trauma dressing for people, We just mean bandages. Big
bandage.
lot of bandages.
Essentially, yeah.
There's a ton of bandages.
There's specific, like, if you go into the back in the ambulance in the bandage compartment, there's a whole bunch of different ones. There's Curlex gauze that are, meant to wrap around. There's 4x4 gauze to stop little bleeds. There's abdominal pads that are kind of a little bit smaller trauma pads. And then there's these big, very absorbent trauma dressings. They're trauma dressings. That's for gunshot wounds, for shit where there's blood everywhere. You can't tell where the blood's coming from, whatever. Big open wounds. They're almost like a hand towel sheet.
Yeah, they're super thick.
Fold it in half, put that on there, wrap it around some Curlex tight so it keeps pressure on the wound. And then we would probably immobilize your leg. And back then we didn't have these, but now we have these... They're air splints. So basically what there are is they're huge bags full of tiny styrofoam balls. And what that allows it to do is it would wrap around your entire leg. We would dress it up, bandage it all up, stop any immediate life threats. Then we would wrap this bag basically around your leg so that all the balls are even. There's a little valve you hook up a air pump to, and you suck all the air out of it. So basically those balls mold around your leg. And keep it straight without putting any added pressure on the wound. So if it starts to swell or anything like that, it's not like a Curlex where I'm wrapping around and tightening it down. It wraps around and it stays to where your leg is, and then it molds there and holds it. So it's a pretty cool tool to have. We probably would have used that in your situation.
You look so excited talking about that right now, dude.
I know.
Jesus Christ, dude. Like, it was like a Christmas present. Like, bro, it goes around your leg and it molds it, bro.
I hope you guys, it's one of my personality traits. I hope you guys appreciate that. Yeah. I like telling stories.
Right on.
But that would be like, as far as treating that wound, even if it was gushing blood, and it was blood everywhere, okay? It's a cut.
Yeah.
You can get a cut that hits a vessel anywhere. I mean, shit. It's, every single depressing movie you've ever seen, somebody's cutting themselves in the wrist to try and kill themselves. So if once you get enough and you've seen enough and man, the sight of blood or the sight of a big cut, that is all kind of secondary to what the what's actually physically happening here, right? And if I walked up to you and there's no blood and I see this big open wound, I would go, "Oh fuck, bro, you all right? Yeah, are you in a lot of pain?" My thoughts would immediately be to your pain level and getting this thing covered up so we don't get an infection, just like you said earlier. But I'm not going to freak out over the cut. All right. So you talked about the guys.
Like I said, the guys are completely calm.
Exactly. Yeah. You talked about the guys being calm. They've seen cuts. They've seen gunshot wounds. They've seen all that shit, right? So my concern would be more toward you. Hey, man, how much pain are you in? Give me a pain scale on a scale from 1 to 10. Fuck, man. It's like and you weren't in it. Maybe it's like 4.
I wasn't even that much. Yeah.
Right. Then I would ask you, all right, dude, take your blood pressure and all that stuff, right? But if you didn't nick a vessel and that closed system is still closed, you're cool, man. You're cool. This is a cut. We got to close it out. You got to get it sewn up. Essentially. Once you get there and you evaluate all that stuff and you determine it's just a cut, okay, let's relax a little bit. Let's worry about your comfort and what's the best place to take you to get this thing taken care of. That's why I'm a little bit surprised that they went to Marina, but I'm not surprised. First of all, your comfort would be most important, right? So I would ask you the pain you're in. If you're in a 4, okay, that's not that much pain. If I was in a 4, I wouldn't want drugs. Yeah. If I've already got a filleted open leg, I also wouldn't want a needle stuck in my arm if I don't need it. Yeah.
06, were you guys pushing morphine back then?
Yeah.
So they're already encouraging it?
Yes. That's another thing, man. Pain meds are different nowadays than they used to be, okay? So now we give fentanyl, and it's a lot more normal thing to give out a pain med when somebody's in pain. Back then, there were a lot of factors that went into whether or not you got pain meds.
Correct,
okay, one of them was, do you have a good medic that recognizes the need for pain meds? Okay, a lot of times guys will, just like you said, that don't have a lot of experience, show up and get stuck on that wound, stuck on, oh shit, I got to wrap this, I got to do this, and they forget about their patient. They forget about the patient's needs, the patient's pain, how they're feeling. Is this scary to them? All that shit. right? That's part of being a paramedic is remembering that you're dealing with a person here. I always tell our rookies, we're in the customer service business. That ultimately, that's what this is. When it's all said and done, is the person going to be satisfied with the way you treated them or the way you treated their family member, right? So I would ask you that. And before I just gave it, I would ask you, listen, dude, you got a 4 out of 10 pain. I have this morphine that I can give you. It's a narcotic, though. It might make you feel a little funny, but it will help with the pain. Do you want it? No, man, I don't want it because you were an athlete.
At the time, I was an athlete. Yeah.
No, man, I don't want it. Okay, well, if your blood pressure is normal, you don't want pain meds. Do I really need to start an IV on you? Yeah. Do I really need to poke you with a needle more? You know what I mean? Like,
Jam
what good is that going to do?
Trauma center when you didn't even start an IV.
Well, yeah, what good is that going to do? Even if it's an ALS call, I'd probably call it in and at least let them know, hey, I'm bringing this guy in with a massive cut on his quad down to his bone. You know what I mean? That's a big deal. They're going to have to call some people for it. So I called to prepare them for it. But ultimately, just like you said, it's BLS really call. A BLS call.
It is a BLS call.
When it comes down to it.
When it comes down to it. So I can see why they took you to Marina. I don't think Marina would have been the best choice. I wouldn't have taken you there.
It was 4:30 on a Thursday.
And here's the thing: it's not a wrong move to take you to Marina. No. Okay, but Marina del Rey, and I'm not dogging Marina del Rey Hospital by any means. Okay, I love Marina del Rey Hospital. I love all the nurses and doctors and everybody that works there. Okay, I go there every single day.
What are they called now?
It's Cedars-Sinai Marina del Rey campus.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the Cedars organization is family. They're a family now. But it's a very small hospital.
Correct.
A very small hospital. They have like a 4-bed ICU or something like that, right? I mean, it's like a tiny little hospital. Single story hospital. A tiny little ER. It's got like 8 beds or something like that.
I met Shaq there.
So we'll get to that story. So an injury like this to a young guy that I know is going to need some sort of, at least a plastic surgeon to go in and try to repair this thing properly or some sort of higher level of care, I would have taken you to Santa Monica UCLA or St. John's or maybe even all the way to UCLA, which is our trauma center, which has everything, which is the ideal place for you to go someplace like that because they have all those people there on staff ready to go.
To be fair, it's possible, LMU being the closest, and they have an affiliation with Curlin Jobe. I mean, Marina del Rey being the closest to LMU. Maybe they had some kind of like orthopedic arrangement set up
and that I never
for their
asked.
athletes.
Possible? I think not, though. I think not. And again, not to dog Marina del Rey because I love Marina del Rey.
Would you let a trainer?
I love everyone
watch
there.
where you tread there,
but in
bro.
2006, Marina del Rey was not Cedars-Sinai Marina del Rey campus.
No, it wasn't.
Would you let a trainer dictate where you transport? Let's say the training staff at LMU told you, hey, take him to Marina.
Absolutely not.
All right.
No.
But in this case, though, like where you're assessing that it's a BLS injury.
Yes, it's not wrong.
You respect the wishes.
It's not wrong. It's not wrong. But it kind of lends itself to what I tell my interns when I have a paramedic intern is you can choose to be a medic that does. Okay, yeah, I can see why you did that. That's right there on the limit of what you should and shouldn't do. I mean, you're doing the right thing, but you don't ever take the extra step. You don't ever go the extra mile. You can be that kind of medic, but keep in mind that we're in the customer service business. Keep in mind that this person's emergency doesn't end when we drop them off at the hospital. If they're a Kaiser patient and Kaiser's open and you just don't want to drive to Kaiser and take them to Marina, eventually they're going to have to get a private ambulance. They're going to have to stay in the hospital, get a private ambulance to come pick this guy up and take him to Kaiser anyways. Right. It's going to be a headache for the family, a headache for them. They might get a bill from Marina, you know what I mean? Because they're not in the Kaiser network, whatever. Yeah. When you could have just drove them to Kaiser to begin with.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the type of shit I'm talking about. It's not wrong that they went to Marina, but you could have probably benefited a lot quicker from being taken to a trauma center.
But maybe those were the circumstances here, and it worked out for Adrian. But then there's another aspect of this where it worked out for you too, because this happened on a baseball field. There was a liability concern. So at what point did that come in? Like where
and that
you started talking with a lawyer or something?
That I actually never really considered for a while.
I remember having conversations with you going, what the fuck are you thinking, dude? Get your money.
And my brother's an attorney. And
so how long before he told you about it, or like what?
I mean, he mentioned
his eyes were opening like this. You know how much you can get for this, bro?
He mentioned it right away because, like I said, he understood the liability.
Sure, yeah.
And there really is no fight in this, right?
Yep.
Me being emotionally attached to the school, the university at the time.
Right, you're not looking at it that way.
Exactly, because to me, I was like, it's an accident,
Sure.
They contacted me, they, reached out to me. I thought they did everything they should have done to help me out after the injury, post-injury.
But it's before the injury. That's important.
Correct.
Yes.
But then it was afterwards, and I think part of this had to do with the whole how quickly my career just ended.
Yeah.
And later on is when it settles in.
Yeah.
And now you're working for a living. You're no longer you're just working.
Now
for a living. You're like everyone else. You know? So you're working for a living, and you realize, like, you know what, dude?
What you lost.
Yeah. Someone was at fault here. Someone was wrong, and I was just doing what I was supposed to do.
Then you banged the table and you
Correct.
stood
So
up.
then I banged the table. My brother reached out to me, and because he's in that industry, he's the one that he put me in touch with the attorney. And the legal aspect was quick. Yeah. Because we did the whole pictures. He got the medical records.
Cut and dry.
It was cut and dry.
Literally cut and dry.
They sent what they were asking for to the university, and the university didn't fight it really.
Yeah.
It was just one of those where, like, yeah, that's fair. And I'm sure they have an amount. From what I've been told, they have an amount that they're cool with that they'll never really fight with. Yeah. Kind of how the fire department or the sheriff's department
does.
I'm sure
they got a little slush fund of money.
They have an amount that, hey, you know what? Legally, it's not even worth it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, within months, they gave me a disclosed amount and,
Yeah. And that led to you winding up getting, what was the toy that you bought? Bought a horse.
Well, I got a horse. Yeah. I mean, that and about a house.
Horse and a house, baby.
Horse and a house. Yeah. So it helped me with my down payment. Yeah.
This guy gets a freaking horse.
And I still have them. Now we have 3. Now we have 3 horses.
So this is what I'm getting at because you're saying we. So you get a horse in freaking LA. The first people are thinking, like, where the hell do you have a horse?
Yeah.
So where'd you keep your horse?
So when I first started, I had him out of Pico Rivera. And there's a huge pocket out there. There's a sports arena right off the 605. Yeah. And it's a huge Mexican community that rides right there. It's called the Village.
Did you have Chocolate, right?
Yeah,
that's your horse. Did you have Chocolate before you met Yvette?
Correct, I did.
You did? Oh, okay.
That's where I was going with this, dude.
Oh, sorry.
Because that's how you met, right?
Well, we met through a show because of the horseback riding.
So what was the show?
So the show was called Los Cowboys, and this occurred back in 2014. So there's a show called Los Cowboys on Hulu.
On Hulu, right.
It's a docuseries, so reality-based TV show.
Is it English or Spanish?
In English and Spanish.
Oh, okay.
So the first season was in English, second season was in Spanish because Univision picked up the second one.
Yeah.
And it just deals with professionals in LA. So at the time it was the whole fire service, sheriff department thing that live in LA, work for a living, but have this Mexican heritage and were attached to Mexican charreria, which is Mexican rodeo.
Yeah.
And
Mexican rodeo,
is that
dancing,
what you
right? Like
yourself?
Horse dancing.
I mean, I never really considered myself a charro, but I enjoy the culture and the tradition of it. I really enjoyed it. It's something that always intrigued me.
You got an outfit?
I do have the outfit. So I have the outfit. My horse is trained for it. So my horse is a rodeo horse.
No shit.
And that's how I ended up meeting my wife. So my wife is an escaramuza, which is, she actually participated in it, and she competed in Mexico.
What is that? I'm learning here, man.
So an escaramuza, it's like a choreographed ride. They have a team.
Almost like horse dancing, man.
Yeah, it's in a way.
Yeah.
They dress up. So there's a tradition of the way they dress up. It's organized. There's a point system to it. And they compete. Like I said, they compete against other teams. So she grew up riding like this. She did it in the States and she did it in Mexico.
Is it like the barrel racing and all that type of rodeo stuff?
It's completely separate.
Separate.
So
it's a different.
It's a different discipline. Like I said, American rodeo, Mexican rodeo, 2 separate things. They have things in common, and they both respect each other, but it's 2 different traditions.
And they cover all this stuff on that show too.
Correct.
So if you've never been or you're hearing it now and you're interested or you want to learn more about Adrian and Yvette,
go to Hulu.
Go to Hulu. Check the show out though, because it was a cool show. And they do a lot of the horse stuff, and they have the competition at the end of the first season too. Correct. That was really cool to see in Mexico and Mexico City. It's a really cool show.
We went to Guadalajara and did the whole thing out there, it's a cool thing because you're coming in as an American team going out there.
Crazy.
And that is where you have the major leagues of charreria. Yeah. That is where your premier teams are.
Yeah. Okay. So quick question on that, because as we all know, Guadalajara, buck wild, right? So how is that? Because that's like a major event for them. Was it are you looking at some guys in the audience like, oh shit?
It's a major sport, a major event. The lienzos they have, which is like their arenas for them, are all state of the art. I mean, these are historic venues that fill up, and you're talking about 15,000 people show up. You know?
Yeah.
And everyone's sitting shoulder to shoulder, and it gets packed. and you have guys that do this for a living that get paid a salary to be charros. You know, so they're professional athletes in Mexico.
And there's parades going on.
There's a parade.
Celebrations.
It's a huge thing. It's a huge tradition that dates back to our grandparents.
It's beautiful, man. You watch it on the show, and it makes you want to get on a plane and go to
just
watch
to experience, even if you never participated in the sport. Like you just have to experience. Like I said, to me, I was still being introduced into it, and it was just something that I'm like, you know what? I cherish the fact that I was part of it. Plus, I met my wife doing it. But you know,
yeah.
No.
Yeah, man.
Hell of a story. We didn't even get to Adrian becoming a paramedic.
Yeah.
We started to, but we had to get back to the rest of the story. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot with Adrian.
There's a lot.
And we have like 5 minutes left? Yeah, basically. So our dad gave you the whole rap and you went for it. We're going to get a real Reader's Digest 5 minutes version.
No, it's cool. Like I said, gave me the whole rap, and hey, I did the whole, let me try to prep for the fire service. So I did the EMT.
And you also rode along.
I rode with Danny. At Nines. And I remember riding at Nines with him.
Did you have to do? Because you made Petey do 48 hours. You said, right?
I didn't make anybody do anything. Petey wanted to.
What'd you do?
I was just there for an afternoon, and I was like I said, I went there and I ended up going. You guys drilled that day. You guys went out to go train. You guys went drilling. Your captain at the time was Hayden.
Yeah,
which Hayden. I think he's
retired.
He's retired now.
He just retired. Yeah.
But he retired as a battalion chief.
Battalion chief. Yeah.
Yeah. So and I see him at the gym every now and then.
But you worked as a medic for a little while.
I worked as a medic, so I worked private paramedic, and then I got picked up at the Sierra Madre Fire Department for a while.
That's right.
I was there for like almost 3 years.
We were trying to get you hired at the MAC too.
Yeah, at the MAC, I did the whole thing there. Yeah, so
and HR rejected him. I'm like, dude, this guy has a fucking bachelor's degree, a CPA, a paramedic. You know what I mean? Like he's good looking. Like you guys don't like him. I don't know. They said like he wasn't a paramedic long enough or something. He was a paramedic for 2 years at that point.
Weird.
And that's all they required. But
that's weird.
It was so lame.
So what happened with fire then? You worked Sierra Madre.
I did Sierra Madre, small department. I was always waiting for the big departments to see if they were going to hire. And at the time, you guys were going through huge freeze.
Funky freeze, yeah.
So I started looking at other avenues. And at Sierra Madre, one of the other medics was a retired sheriff. And she became a mentor of mine.
She gave you the rap?
She gave me the rap, opened my eyes to the fact that it's more than just pushing a radio car. It's a huge department.
Yeah.
You know? Endless opportunities.
Pretty much anything you want to do.
Anything you want to do for the 30 years that you're on the... I mean, you could change...
You could be a medic.
You could be a medic,
yeah. And like I said, they still acknowledge the fact that I'm a medic there.
Yeah.
But every 2 to 3 years, you could change units in that department, and you'll never do the same thing twice.
Yeah.
Were you ever thinking of doing that? Like trying to get on Air 5 or something?
I contemplated it, but it's a whole nother route, and we'll see where it takes me.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's still early in my career. I've only been on for 6 years.
Man, those guys get down. Air 5?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Air 5,
pick
they're
up
busy, and that's
everybody that falls off a mountain, basically. Yeah, that's them.
Like I said, but the department's been great to me. I'm super happy that I joined.
It's nice to join a department like LA City and LA County Sheriffs that has that potential for you to completely change your job, you know, when you want. Because being a cop, as with being a firefighter, it's one of those jobs that you can get into a rut doing the same thing, you know, or you can, you know, even like your life in general can put you in a rut at work. And if you feel like you're in that rut, you can pluck yourself out of that and do something else. It's not like being in a cubicle, you know what I mean, for every day for 30 fucking years.
It's demanding. It's a lot of hours. Yeah. And every now and then you just need to change. You need to change the scenery. You need to change the hours because we still have families outside of it. You know? So we want to go home, you know?
Yeah.
So that is a priority. That's why we go to work type of thing.
How is your leg now? I mean, we're talking 14 years later.
Is fully recovered.
Yeah.
Like I said, I went through a fire academy. I had no issues. I went through my sheriff department academy.
Yeah.
No issues.
Okay.
Consistently work out. I do like I said, my worort routine, like everyone has their own regimen. I do CrossFit.
You don't notice it? You don't notice anything?
I don't notice it at all.
Cool.
Man. If it rains, I don't have, none of that stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Shout out Curlin Joe.
Yeah, like I said, so everything, I think the part of it was I was young at the time. So I was 21, 22 when I got injured. So,
and an athlete.
An athlete.
There's a lot to be said about being an athlete.
Take care of yourself.
And then I think the biggest factor is I had the luxury of, I was still attached to the university, so I had that proper rehab.
Sure.
Right.
And we had the stuff there.
Trainers,
we had the pools.
everything.
We had the whole, you know.
They rebuilt you like
so
Steve
it was
Austin.
and it was all one-on-one.
Yeah.
You know. So for me, it was like, all right, I'm going to recover over time. Like, and you see professional athletes, they recover, you know.
Yeah. We can build him back better.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. This was a hell of an episode.
This was a great episode. I want to say thank you to Mom Okay, I want to tell her I hope that we hit all her key points today.
Oh, that was the critique?
Yeah.
Oh, she gave me an outline?
Ben didn't interrupt me. I didn't talk too much. And we separated.
I did a lot of the talking.
We separated the stories. I feel like we did
trying
well.
to be a producer now.
Yeah.
All right. Adrian, your life has been a journey, and we appreciate you sharing it with us, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Man,
Thank
we
you
wish you the best, dude.
Do you have any social media or anything that you want to put out there?
plug?
People can find you or say
anything.
nothing.
Like I said,
That's true.
I've been removed from social media forever.
Do you want to get your wife some more followers?
Hey, like I said, you can always look her up, Yvette Salcido. The minute you Google it, it'll pop up.
You probably already do.
Yeah. So.
All right. Ben, where can they find you?
I am at Ben9Humor, Ben number 9 Humor, like Benign Humor on Instagram and Twitter. Danny Gonzo34 on Instagram and Twitter.
By the way, I love the pictures you got, man.
Oh, thanks, babe. I appreciate that. We also started a TikTok.
Yeah, we have some videos up there. We're doing whatever challenges you throw at us.
We're trying to figure that out.
Do a collaboration with Yvette.
PRC podcast.
We need to do that.
What
does she have, like 2 million followers?
I think she's at 500,000 at least. But her thing grows.
Yeah.
She got the little. She got her little verified. So.
Got to figure it out.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll be. Our people call her people.
Right. Yeah, have her.
You are her people, right?
Call me.
Very productive closing to this episode. Follow the podcast at PRC Pod on Instagram, Twitter, and now TikTok. Email us, contactprcpod@gmail.com. We have merch and rescue packs, t-shirts, and stickers. Hit us up.
And listen, all of the opinions expressed here are our own. They are not the opinions of the Los Angeles Fire Department or the LA County DHS.
No.
Or the LA County Sheriff's Department. And that's it. Thank you for listening.
You.
We'll see you guys next week.
Yeah. Hey. All right. Hey. Yeah, I mean.
So we about to take off.
Hey. Please do remain calm. About to run against it and with a little bit of soul, no times. Bread.